Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Barakath Yahweh, Barakath Yahweh Shai, Barakath Yahweh, Barakath Yahweh Shai, Barakath Yahweh, Barakath Yahweh Shai, Barakath Yahweh, Barakath Yahweh Shai. Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, starting with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, will ultimately have mercy upon in these last days. This is your brother Matzabath from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And you just saw a little clip, which I had to mute it due to the copyright song, so I don't get a strike on my channel. Definitely a tell sign from the heavens. All right. Majority of the times the apostles, they speak about omens, as Apostle Gabar loves to always say. And this definitely was an omen. All right. Now, if you're new and you don't know what an omen is, all right, let's get it here. And let's go to the word omen. All right. From the etymology online. It says a casual event or occurrence supposed to portend good or evil. 1580s. All right. So also down below, it says to give indication of the future. OK, from the Latin verb omnire. OK, if I pronounced that correctly, if not, Salakia. Meant to know or tell from omens, to predict. All right. So this right here, okay, like I said, is definitely a tell sign, because we are at the end of this devil and his kingdom that's being brought down right before our very eyes. All right. So this says here, 115 feet replica of the Statue of Liberty is toppled during a storm in Brazil, and some see it as a harbinger. All right. And see, the Lord is cold, man. All right. Yahweh Bashim Shai got a great sense of humor, man. And I believe through the Spirit, this was definitely for the prophets to see and witness this, man. All right. And the elders, they always say, you have to learn how to really tap into the Spirit, because, see, the Lord will show you things right in front of your eyes. But sometimes, you don't pick up on it, man. OK. And this is another one of, through the Spirit, Yahweh Bashim Shai is letting us know that, hey, get ready, man. Gird up thy loins. Show yourself to be men, because it's about to go down. So let's take a listen, or rather, let's read this real quick. It says a powerful storm in southern Brazil recently sent a towering replica of the Statue of Liberty crashing into the ground. It says, and an event that quickly went viral and ignited widespread debate far beyond the site of the collapse. While officials described the incident as the result of severe weather and structural vulnerability, many viewers around the world interpreted the dramatic imagery as something more than a freak accident, seeing it is instead as a symbolic omen of America's weakening influence and uncertain future. And that's what you see, because, hey, man, there's other people out there, too, that can sense that there's a different type of spirit on the planet Earth, man. OK, Yahweh Bashim Shai's presence is being felt here on the earth, man, and it's stirring up a lot of things, and we're here for it. It says the statue located in the city of, I'm not even going to try it. It says in a Brazilian state of Rio, stood outside a large retail complex. It says during a violent storm marked by strong winds and heavy rain, the structure swayed and then gave way, collapsing into an empty parking lot. It says authorities confirmed that no one was injured and that wind gusts were strong enough to comprise The integrity of the statue's support system. It says video footage of the collapse spread rapidly across social media, where millions viewed the clip within hours. While many reacted with shock or dark humor, a significant portion of commenters framed the moment in symbolic terms. All right. It says the Statue of Liberty, even in replica form, is one of the most recognizable emblems of freedom, democracy, and American ideals. Seeing it topple, especially during a storm, struck many as unsettling and deeply metaphorical. Across online forums and comment sections, users describe the moment as eerily prophetic, a sign of the times or a visual metaphor for a nation losing its footing. And see, the scriptures tells us to be occupied in prophecy. You see, which a lot of you, a lot of you ninjas out there, because you want to hop on, I'm not going to respect no man who calls himself an apostle because he believe in, touching little girls and that are 12 and all that. You want to get stuck on that instead of warning the people about the destruction that's about to come to Babylon, the great America. Right? It says some suggest it reflected moral, political, or cultural decay in the United States, while others liken it to historical moments when the fall of monuments coincide with the decline of empires, right? Now, there's a precept. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Is it in Jeremiah? Let me see. Or is it in Isaiah? Here it is, Isaiah 14 and 11. The water Yahweh Bashemel Shai. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All right. Now, when you read it in the AMP, it says your pomp and magnificence have been brought down to Sheol, meaning the grave, along with the music of your harps. The maggots which prey on the dead are spread out under you as a bed, and the worms are your covering, Babylonian rulers. All right. Because at the same time, the nation, this whole system is not only decaying, but also America's infrastructure is decaying. Okay. Badly. All right. Which is another tell sign that we are at the end of this man's rulership. It's all falling down. You see? Let's get some more. It says, let's see here. While no official count exists, the sheer volume of commentary interpreting the collapse as an omen indicates that tens of thousands, if not more, openly framed the event as an harbinger of America's potential downfall. Okay? And this is what we, the prophets, love to hear because it's all about prophecy. Okay, and what did Apostle Paul said? If you're going to do anything, covet to prophesy. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 39. Wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy and forbid not to speak with tongues. All right. This is what we're supposed to be occupied in. We're supposed to be occupied in the prophecies. All right. It's all about prophecy at the end of the day. It says the interpretation gained traction, not because of the event's physical consequences, but because of the emotional and symbolic power of the image itself. You see? Because we are awaiting for Revelation, the 18th chapter to come to pass. Babylon is fallen. It is fallen. That's what we waiting for. It says throughout history, societies have often viewed the destruction or collapse of symbols as meaningful signs. From fallen statues during revolutions to crumbling monuments and declining civilizations, such moments are frequently understood not merely as accidents, but as reflections of deeper instability. And what does the Bible say about that? Let's get that in Ecclesiastes real quick. All right, the 3rd chapter. And verse 15, it says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past, right? But, that's a good one. That's not quite the one I'm actually after. Let me see here. Let me see. There's another one. Salakia. Where is it? There's another one that I want to get. Let me see. See if they got it in the cross reference. Yeah, here it is. Ecclesiastes 1:9. This is the one I really want. It says, the thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. You see that? So in times past, yes, there's been many, situations where rulerships, decayed, destruction, was at its all-time high, revolutions and stuff like that. So there's no new thing under the sun. If it happened back then, it's going to happen all over again. You see? So it says, in today's digital age, viral imagery amplifies this tendency. A single dramatic video can be replayed, reinterpreted, and repurposed millions of times, reinforcing symbolic readings that resonate with existing fears and anxieties. The image of liberty falling down, or Salakia, let me read that again. The image of liberty fallen during a storm became a visual shorthand for concerns many already hold about political division, economic uncertainty, and the erosion of foundational values. All right. And we love it because, see, the scripture says, and let's get this. What's that? Ecclesiastes 12 and was it 3 and 4? Yeah. It says, verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and that's talking about Esau, Edom, beginning with the top banking elites, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. It's going to grow dim because the uncertainty is settling in. They don't understand what's coming. They don't understand, okay, that Esau, Edom's kingdom is going down. Do you have too many people out here that, they trying to make America great again? They try to fight for the country, to bring the country back to this original state. But the scripture says we would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed. We'll get that right after this, Lord's will. But it reads on in verse 4. It says, the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. All right. And that goes into your businesses. Okay. Stores closing, factories. Right. The unemployment office is at an all-time high within the last 4 years. Look it up. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. You waking up early, right? Trying to put in that application only to be rejected later on. All right. It says, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, because the music ain't the same anymore as it was growing up back in whether you was in the era of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, right? Even as early 2000s was still cool. But everything's changed now. Music is not the same, But one precept that comes to mind reading that article, Jeremiah 50, mainly verse 2, but we'll start at the top. All right, it says, the word Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. All right. It says, declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. That standard is this truth. Okay. It says, publish and conceal not. So as a prophet, as an ambassador of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you supposed to be out there giving a warning, man. You're not supposed to do the work deceitfully and trim your way to seek love, as it mentions in Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. Okay, it also tells you in Jeremiah, the 48th chapter, You're not supposed to hold your sword back from blood, man. So if you get this 100% truth, okay, you're supposed to go out and teach it. You're not supposed to conceal it. All right. So this is what needs to be prophesied. It says, say Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, which this was in telling the gods that were worshipped back then in ancient Babylon, and those same gods are worshipped again today in the daughter of Babylon, which is America. It's just that it's repackaged. Okay. It says her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Okay. This and that's a tell-all tale sign, man. Right. And you jump to Revelation as I quoted it. And then Lord's will, we'll get the other precept I quoted. Just escaped my mind now. But let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Did I go past it already? Salakia, hold on. Let me start at verse. Yeah, we'll start at the top. It's verse 2, actually. It says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of unclean and hateful birds. All right. Meaning, in other words, when the land is left utterly desolate, all right, as they showed you in the movie with Denzel Washington, the Book of Eli, the only thing that's going to be living in the land is desert-like creatures. That's it. All right. And it tells you that in the book of Isaiah. All right. So, yes, this image, okay, of this Statue of Liberty, a replica located down in Brazil, okay, that's definitely a tell-all tale sign, all right? And the scriptures tells us, let's get that in Ecclesiasticus, I believe. All right, 36. And I might just get straight to the point. You know, I'm going to start at the top. It says, have mercy upon us, O Yahweh Bashemel Shai of all, and behold us. Send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee, and lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power. You see that? It says, as thou wast sanctifying us before them, so, pardon me, it says, so be thou magnified among them before us. And here's the next couple of points. It says, and let them know thee as we have known thee, that there is no power but only thou, O power. Now watch this, verse 6. It says, show new signs and make other strange wonders, and glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. You see that? So just because, all right, you may not see anything that's over the top crazy and miraculous or whatever, it doesn't mean that Yahweh Bashemel Shah is not working. You see? And Yahweh Shah said it best. He said, when you get Matthew, he said, watch and pray. All right. Matthew 26:41. It says, watch and pray. Right. And what are you watching for? You're watching for the prophecies. You're watching for the signs. Going back to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, measure thou the time diligently within itself. And when thou seest the signs past, how are you going to see the signs past? By you watching. And also it says, watch and pray. You see, it says that ye enter not into temptation. Why? Because we know Revelation 3:10 is coming to play. Okay. And Revelation 3:10 is going into when it talks about he will keep us from the hour of temptation. If we keep, thy patience, keep this truth. Okay. If we endure it until the end, he's going to keep us from the hour of temptation. All right. It says the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. You see? So when we see things like this, man, this should, make you happy if you in the right spirit to understand that this is what we need to happen. You see? We need this to happen, man. Now, when you go back, let me see if there's anything else I want, because there's another precept. Yeah, here it is. Jeremiah 50:46. It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved and the cry is heard among the nations. All right. Because, the scriptures tells you in Revelation that 200,000, that's 200 million. That's 200 million warheads on the missiles collectively that's going to strike this place, Babylon, the Great America. All right. So you're going to hear, because the scriptures even tell you that the earth is going to rear to and fro like a drunkard. And what's going to cause that to happen? All right. The destruction, man. All right. Zephaniah 2:11 says, Yahweh will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and men shall worship him, everyone from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. All right. Because you got to understand, when the kingdom is set up, all right, the heathen nations, Gentile nations, they're not going to be saved from anything, but they will have to worship the true power, serving their captivity and being tributaries unto us in the kingdom. That's why it tells you in Isaiah the 2nd chapter that they're going to come to the mountain of Zion and ask to teach them of our ways. All right. That's how you know that we're not of the kingdom right now, because the heathen nations ain't doing that. They doing their own damn thing. That's why the scripture says it's going to take, it doesn't say it in that capacity, but it says we're going to be reigning with Hamashiach that first 1,000 years. And why 1,000 years in particular? Because that's how long it's going to take to get these heathen nations, on a path of doing what's right versus what they have been doing currently right now, which is all the way wrong. The scriptures tells you the whole earth. Let me see if I can get that. Is out of course. All right. All right. This is Psalms chapter 82 and verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. All right. They're out of course. And this is the reason why it tells you in Romans, the 8th chapter, that they waited for the manifestation of men, right? Romans 8, and where is it? Is it 19? It says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. Reading the Amplified Version, it says, for even the whole creation, all nature waits eagerly for the children of the Most High to be revealed. Why? Because the moment we come back into power, everything goes back to its righteous setting. But as long as this death isn't as long as this devil is in power, man, the earth mourneth. Tells you that in Proverbs, the 29th chapter. Right? When the wicked bear a rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous beareth a rule, the people rejoice. All right. So let's get ready to wrap it up. Second Esdras 9. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You see? Yeah, like we read earlier, Yahweh Shah said, watch as well as pray. All right. It also tells you, what's that, Romans, I want to say it's 13. Yeah, Romans 13 and 11. It says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So when you looking at an image like this, it's you have to expect nothing short than the power of Yahweh Bashem El Shai being manifested in these last days, man. And this should strike you as having an abundance of faith to know that these words are faithful and true. Thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So Salakia, there, I was trying to remember the precept I quoted earlier that I had want to forget, but it escaped my mind. But hopefully you brothers were fed through the spirit. Hopefully this was edifying and straight to the point as always. Closing out, want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. Shabbat Shalom.